Are the Simpsons warning us about an economic collapse and a power shift? The Simpsons has shocked us for years with their eerie predictions, but what if some of the boldest ones are yet to unfold? In this episode, we dive into their warnings about economic collapse, the downfall of major powers, and a global shift unlike anything we've seen. Are these just coincidences, or are the Simpsons hinting at real-world transformation that's already in motion? Let's explore the clues hidden in plain sight and what they might mean for our future. Hello, everybody. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new to this channel. We are going to hop right into question 1 for episode 7 of the Simpsons prediction series. So question 1 is, what secret knowledge about economic collapse is hidden in the Simpsons storylines? So let's see what we can get here. Starting with Oracle, and we will move on to Tarot for more information. So we have Jaws. And we have Die Hard. Both good movies. And, well, that was an interesting cut. We have Sister Act. And we have The Blob. Okay, and a reminder of the question here. What secret knowledge about economic collapse is hidden in the Simpsons storylines? Okay, so with Jaws, it looks like the jaws of the beast, obviously. And as we know from the movie Jaws, this shark is almost supernaturally strong. Took a lot of barrels and sunk them under. That was like a huge part of the show. And as you can see, well, you're a little washed out here, but the shark here is larger than the ship. Okay? So I feel like the hidden knowledge that they're sharing about an economic collapse is probably pretty strong and perhaps a bit vicious. I just first glance here. This may change as I continue on with the reading, but or it might be what people are expecting to see. Or maybe they're giving a show that shows worst case scenario. Okay? And then we've got Die Hard. And, you know, it doesn't look good in the picture. Looks like the tower is falling, so to speak. So we're going to do that. But things have been like this. Our economy has been as it is, up, down, up, down, up, down. It doesn't die easy. It dies hard. So whatever this is, whatever this economic collapse, as we see the tower slowly coming down or exploding here, basically, could also be such a thing. And excuse me if this goes a little wonky. My daughter called. I had to take the call. I'm going back into this. So this could also show that this tower coming down, we're hanging on for dear life. Okay, we're trying to keep our economy from collapsing. That could be another possibility here that Simpsons is trying to share. Now, with Sister Act, keep in mind, it also could be an act. It could be a very good act by the powers that be, so to speak, and nothing really is going to happen to our economy. But chances are there may be acting like nothing's going to happen. Also, instead of just, acting like our economy is just fine, they don't want to really give us a heads up. They want to make sure that, we're blocked from thinking anything other than everything is fine. This here is not actually happening. And I think the Simpsons might be pushing with their shows, trying to show us that it is all an act, that things are changing. So let's see where it goes. We have Now You See Me, The Fog, sorry, and 7 Days Leave. Okay, so not only do we have the blob, we have the fog. Okay, so they just want us to be, not Simpsons, but the powers that be want us to just keep our brains in a fog. And Now You See Me is a magic show. It's a very convincing magic show. These are phenomenal people here. And I feel like this is all connected, where the Simpsons may be trying to tell us in the storylines that, we can't believe anything that we're hearing. It's all a show, and a show to keep us in the fog from seeing exactly what is happening with our economy. And it's all talk. All of this that, they're saying up here is, oh, our economy is great, and the numbers, the percentages of jobs is this phenomenal percentage, there's hardly anybody out of work kind of thing. You know the stories that are being told. So the Simpsons, in their hidden kind of way, and it might not come out blatantly in the shows. It might be hidden within one small line or an action that you see or something along those lines. But the secret knowledge here is coming through the storylines that, we're being fed lines of baloney, and things are not as good with the economy as we're being told. So let's see what tarot has to share. Any more information here for tarot? With Jaws, we have the Seven of Swords. And again, the Seven of Swords, for some people in tarot, the first thing they jump to here is the Thief. And it is a thief card. But what is the thief stealing for? We need to have the information, all of the information, to know if that person is really a thief or not. So again, we don't have all the information about our economy. Okay, we're being fed a huge story. We don't have all the information, so we can't, and Simpsons cannot, say for sure if we're going to have an economic collapse. They can just share what they believe is happening right now. And we have the Hermit. Now notice that she's on top of a tower that is actually still standing. So things are being kept quiet about what is actually going on. The possibility of the tower crumbling, which would be the economic collapse. But it's struggling. It doesn't want to go. And then the Six of Wands. The people who are putting on the show, putting on the act, are perfectly fine about what they're doing. They're perfectly fine to make us think this. They have no qualms about playing this game. No qualms at all. And they're hoping that we don't recognize that. With the Blob, we have the Four of Cups. Yeah, they want us to turn our back on anything that we hear that is this related, like there could be an economic collapse. They want us to turn our back on anything that comes from another story that they don't want us to believe. Because even though they love to make us worry and they love to make us anxious and that kind of thing, they're still playing their magic. They haven't quite gotten to the point yet where they want to scare us to pieces. They still want to convince us that, all is well with our economy. Justice with the fog. Yeah, they're doing everything they can to keep the truth from us. That's for sure. They want us in that fog, and, she's like the giant of truth. And the balance of the scales. And that they really don't want us to know that. And again, I'm not talking the Simpsons. The Simpsons are sharing this information. They're sharing the fact that an economic collapse is possible and that this is what's being kept from us. They're doing it purposely. And the Hierophant, yeah, they're staying with the old story. Staying with the old tradition of history where, they just will not share anything with us that they don't want us to know. I have heard it said we're mindless automatons, allegedly. Anyway, so that is what The Simpsons is sharing in hidden messages here in their storylines, and that economic collapse is definitely possible, and we're being kept in the dark, so to speak. So let us get this story picked up and see what question 2 is going to be and where it's going to lead us from here. That's pretty powerful, actually, that one. Yeah, it's one of those things you never really know anymore what to believe about anything, right? There's just so much going on in the world. And some of it is crazy, unbelievable, at least to me. Okay, so question number 2. How accurately are the Simpsons predicting future global power shifts? So we've got card number 1. Oops. Offer. And card number 2. Hand-me-down world. And 3. Bicentennial Man. It's been a long time since I've seen that show, or that movie, but always liked it. Always liked Robin Williams. All right, and we have Postman. The Postman, another good movie. Hard to watch, but good movie. Okay, so reiterating the question, how accurately are the Simpsons predicting future global power shifts? I feel like there's a lot of offers on the table. A lot of offers on the table. And there are people who want to make sure that the world never shifts, never changes. They don't have a problem with systems being broken. They don't have a problem with the way our world is today. But there are also those who are fighting against that, asking questions, calling to action. And some people at first, I think, thought it was going to be AI that was going to change things, that was going to be the future of the global shifts. This looks like not at all the case. I feel like the power shift is going to go to us, meaning the people. The power shift is going to go to the people. And again, this is, The Simpsons predicting, if, a show like this hasn't come on for them yet, It very well may. So we've got what's going on. We have fantasy. And we have reinvention. So, yeah, with a lot of offers on the table and so many people in the power area that really want our world to stay as it is because it's good for them. And not really worrying as much about AI because right now it is us, apparently, who is going to be the power behind the shift. What's going on with that? Well, people are starting to question the narrative, the things that they're told, starting to question things and empathize a little bit more with good causes and putting some effort and engagement into things, attempting to mend some of the wounds that have taken place over time. Okay, history has some pretty horrifying things that have happened, and it's kind of like we're not going to take it anymore. And fantasy, this is talking about going beyond ordinary thinking, going beyond or into like a higher state, a higher vibration. And I feel like that's where everybody is going. And if you've seen previous episodes, we've talked about ascension in the Simpsons prediction series. This is a reinvention of this world. It's a reinvention of us. So I feel like the Simpsons are predicting this future global shift in their shows. Can't give you specific episodes, absolutely not. They might even be episodes that haven't aired yet. But this is where things are going. This is the offer I think that the Simpsons writers have been given to give thought to, okay, for possibly a show. And again, some of the offers that they receive, some of the things that they receive, for instance, like the soulmate from the alternate reality that we saw in episode 1, that soulmate is able to give the writers information because what has happened in their world has not happened in ours yet. So they're getting it first. So they're seeing, what kind of consequences and so on things could take on if they happened here. They've already lived it in that alternate reality. So at any rate, the global power shift looks to be in our favor, in the favor of the people, rather than in the hands of those who want the world in chaos. So let us see what the tarot has to share. Okay, so we have the Star, and that's just saying the Star is another card for otherworldly beings. So the soulmates, the angels, the guides, the gladiators, etc., all the ones that we've talked about in these episodes, they're encompassed by the Star. So otherworldly beings, have made this offer. Six of Wands. Pretty much just helping us gain harmony of the energy of the world, the energy by asking questions, by taking action when action needs to be taken. Five of Cups. Yeah, this is the emotional chaos that's been put out there. It's got to be AI. AI is going to take over everything. And that's almost like a cover story. That's what it feels like, that it's a cover story. And I think, like on The Simpsons, I believe they've had some shows where the robots take over, but then, eventually they fall apart. We win, regardless. So even if they attempted to, it wouldn't last long. And then we have the Ten of Cups. Yeah, this is the completion of connection, the completion of our emotions. It's also how powerful our intuition is, almost as though we are going to know exactly when to move, exactly when and what to do. What's going on? We have the Hierophant, which is really interesting because we have the thinker here and we have the Hierophant here. And as we said with what's going on, this is about questioning the narrative and empathizing with, good causes and putting some effort in, engaging in something, helping to mend the wounds, and not necessarily going back to tradition, because tradition hasn't always been friendly in our history. But the Hierophant is also a teacher. So perhaps, and here we're using an owl, we may not be learning how to handle things conventionally. For instance, not from past presidents or something like that. Maybe we'll be learning from the animals. Maybe, it's hard to say. And then fantasy comes with the Magician. And this is manifesting what we want, because manifesting becomes easier when we're in higher states and we have a higher purpose in mind. It becomes easier. Our vibrations are higher, and here's probably where we look to the light workers to help us hold that vibration so change can take place, manifestation can happen. And then we have Temperance with reinvention. Again, this is reinventing the world, but having a balance. A balance is necessary here. So, how accurately are the Simpsons predicting future global power shifts? I think every episode always comes back to Homer and the family and whoever else is involved always coming out on top. They're just the little guys, but they always seem to come out on top. So I think that their global power shift predictions are pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. So far, we've always come out on top. We may still be somewhat oppressed, allegedly, okay? But they're not saying on the show that, Homer and Marge and the family are wealthy. They're just not broken at this point. Okay, so let us see. Putting all these back. I know it takes time to put these away, but it's a good thing because it all gets good and mixed, and we don't have to worry about getting too many repeat cards, and when we do, we know that they're important. All right, so starting question 3. Question 3 says, are there hidden forces influencing the Simpsons' economic predictions? Hidden forces influencing the Simpsons' economic predictions. Okay, we have Hidalgo. Gets a little blurry every now and then, doesn't it? Okay, second card. Indian Reservation. And before anybody gets me for being not politically correct, that is the name of a song by Paul Revere and the Raiders. That is the title of the song, which is still allowed to play on the radio, so I should still be allowed to say it here. Okay. The night they drove old Dixie down. All right. Stargate. Okay. So the question again, are there hidden forces influencing the Simpsons' economic predictions? Absolutely not. There are no hidden influences, at least not since these readings began, this series began. Hidalgo and the man who rides him, they are loners. They are completely alone. They race alone. They do things alone. They risk danger alone. They are alone. I'm taking that to mean that no, there are no hidden forces influencing the Simpsons' economic predictions. What is being seen is the injustice and the disrespect and the greed and the oppression that all goes with forcing these situations on specific people. The night they drove Old Dixie down, no matter what happens here, okay, there's always fantastic stories about human strength. People adapt, they rebuild, but they mourn the losses first, obviously. But they can't be taken down. They're not being taken down. The economic issues, no matter what they are, whether, a town gets totally demolished from, say, a tornado, it gets rebuilt. After a period of time, it gets rebuilt. So, and the people move back there with, the hopes that will never happen again. It is economic predictions. You're never going to see the Simpsons put it down to being absolutely destitute and not coming back from it. Okay? Stargate here. I believe that we have otherworldly help. Let's move forward and see what happens. Eye of the Tiger. In old Arizona. And what a feeling. Okay, so if you look here, it almost looks like an eye, the Stargate. In fact, in the show, I believe it's called the Chapa Eye by some. It is an eye that allows things in and out, things to be seen, things not to be seen. Then we have the Eye of the Tiger, which is fighting for rights, standing strong, defying the odds. So I feel like the Simpsons shows, the ones that they do talk about economic situations. Again, we always come out on top. We might get fooled every now and then, but then we realize, again, it's just totally all talk. People hear what they see. So if you've got somebody on television saying, oh, everything is perfectly fine, nothing is wrong with our economy, that's what they're seeing and that's what they're hearing. However, then you go to the store, the grocery store, and you see the prices of eggs, for instance, being at $10 a dozen. Then you hear what you see, meaning somebody said, or you can hear somebody talking by the eggs saying, yeah, our economy's going to hell. Okay? And then you hear what you see. What a feeling is being able to own your power and achieve anything. And I think that's what ends up happening in these economic shows that The Simpsons do, is that everybody in the show ends up achieving what they set out to do because they own their power. They're not letting any of this get to them. They're not letting any of it change how they live or the way they wish to live, at least not long term. Okay, so with Hidalgo, again, no hidden forces that are influencing these shows, or this particular one when it comes to economics. There's nobody trying to put little, trying to get the Simpsons to say certain things, other than perhaps the soulmates, the spirit guides, the gladiator, the otherworldly beings right here, okay? They're the ones. And I don't call them hidden forces anymore because this particular series has brought them forward. So they are, if nothing else, warning about this kind of scenario, pitting people against people because of injustice, disrespect, greed, and oppression. They just want to oppress. But no matter what is thrown at us, we will come back. We will adapt. We will bounce back. We will rebuild. That's how it is. And we're not going to be fooled again. No. Once we find out the truth about something, and, we're talking, we've got all kinds of alien beings in here, as well as humans. Once we find out the truth about something, it's not forgotten. It's added to the data bank, so to speak. And then, again, we get a little better at the, hearing what we see, but seeing also before we hear. Maybe maybe noticing things that just aren't right. And realize that it's time to try, to step into our power. All right, so let's see what more Tarot has to share. It's always interesting when I edit these readings, take out any long spaces or anything. I'm always really surprised sometimes that I will go, oh, darn, I wish I'd have said that about that card. All right, so here we have the Devil. Yeah, there's nobody ensnaring the Simpsons. They have tried. They have tried to trap the Simpsons writers and producers and so forth to get them to give information that they want us to hear, and it doesn't happen. Then we have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, there's a lot of work involved in fixing the issues, turning something ugly into something beautiful. Working very hard at that. And, it's been an ongoing thing through our history. They keep repeating this kind of thing economically. And, then it'll eventually turn beautiful, but it's taking a lot of work. And then the Nine of Pentacles shows us going from down, having everything taken away from us to becoming very wealthy individuals. The Six of Pentacles. This is getting together with our otherworldly brothers and sisters and giving and sharing evenly. Having a harmony between us. This is it's also a part of the economic predictions. The shows show people helping one another. May not have specifically aliens in the economic shows, but maybe does. And again, some of these maybe haven't been written or aired yet. And then for the Eye of the Tiger, we have the Queen of Cups, which is powerful intuition. Knowing that we won't lose, that our economy is going to be fine, and we will be able to care and nurture for ourselves and for other people. Four of Wands, this is a happy place to be. We are actually hearing and seeing what we're supposed to be hearing and seeing, not what someone else says we should hear and see. And the Two of Cups shows a connection to ourselves, being powerful within ourselves, loving who we are because we have stepped up. We've won. We adapted. We can do anything. We don't have to be destitute. We don't have to go down with the ship, so to speak. If there is going to be anything with an economic collapse of any kind, we don't have to go down with the ship. But we have to see before it's too late. All right, so let's move on here. Clean it up real quick. And yeah, I didn't have this in front of the camera before, but yeah, I kind of make sure that I put these in at oddball places so that they're a little bit more mixed than they would normally be. And then I just kind of lift up the deck and stuff these cards in wherever it splits. And again, that helps to make sure that we don't get duplicates of these cards. And if we do, in other words, if they're laid more than once per question, if we do, they're important for us to see. All right, so question 4 here. What warning or message are the Simpsons trying to send about the future economy? What warning or message are the Simpsons trying to send about the future economy? All right, so we have Age of Aquarius, let the sun shine in. I hope you're enjoying this show so far, and that if you are, you would be so inclined to hit the like button and perhaps subscribe so you don't miss any of the shows that the cards wish to share information on. Okay, then we've got Eye of the Tiger again. Different position, but still repeat card. Seven Days Leave, another repeat. Don't know how that happens. So many cards, and still, I swear there's some cards in these decks I've never seen. Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. Look at that. Isn't that insane? You saw me put them in, mix them up. Okay, interesting. All right, so again, what warning or message are the Simpsons trying to send about the future economy? Now, keep in mind that some of the messages, as we said in the last episode, if you haven't seen that, you might want to go back and watch it. Some of the information is not intentional. The writers do not write it intentionally. Anyway, so in other words, it's like another hand writes it, so to speak. So anyway, where the warning or message is concerned about the future of economy, this is the Age of Aquarius. And in the Age of Aquarius, things are meant to be different, meant to be better. We are moving out of the Age of Pisces, which is a time of fighting and conflict and always a mess, into the peaceful Age of Aquarius, where there's more harmony and so forth. We're no longer being fooled. And I feel like with, the Simpsons, if they're talking about future economy, they're going to let us see the sunny part of life from the Age of Aquarius and let the sun shine in. The sunny part of life and the awakening of the planet, cosmic awakening of the planet, and how everyone's eyes are open and that everybody stood strong. They fought for what they wanted. So the future economy is good. We're no longer dealing with all talk. We are rising up. We are rebuilding our way. The power of love, divine timing, and the Stepford Wives. So, power of love. Love is pretty unshakable. It's an unshakable force. And that is one of the things that those who are bringing forth information about the economic future in The Simpsons to the writers, that's one of the things that they probably are pushing, is the fact that there's power in love and there's divine timing. So when things are meant to happen, they're going to happen. And, this is under Age of Aquarius. So the information about future economy it couldn't have happened previously in the Age of Pisces. It just wasn't divine timing. That's not how things were going to work. But the future economy is going to be absolutely lovely. The further we get into the Age of Aquarius, we are going to be very strong people. No longer listening to the talk. They can just take their vacation. Whoever these talkers are can take their vacation and stay on it. And then no matter what happens, we are going to rise up again, because in the Age of Aquarius, love is prominent. Okay? Divine timing will help, and we are no longer going to be followers, just robots, or as we're often called, sheep. It's not going to be that way. Which means, economically, we can pretty much make things as we wish. So let's check out tarot here. All right, so Page of Pentacles. Yeah, it's the whole start of something totally new and fantastic on the earth. Nine of Cups. This is not only the wish card, but dynamic energy of emotion. We are strong because we are emotional about ourselves. We are emotional about each other. We are emotional about the human race. Death, that's the transformation card. We're not listening to things have transformed. Here's where we are. Whatever these people are doing, it's transforming because we want them to go on vacation. We're not interested in what they have to say anymore. Then we have the Queen of Cups. This is nurturing and caring for ourselves. It is the rebuilding, the adapting, the everything coming together in a fantastic way. We have the Page of Cups. It is the beginning of this power of love. When we get, it's happening now in the Age of Aquarius. And where the economy is concerned, because of these things, no one is going to be left behind unless they choose to be. So divine timing, we've got the High Priestess, that's the secrets. Things are, have to be secret to some degree because we cannot know all until it's time for us to know, at least on a cosmic level. And then the Seven of Wands. This is the defense card, being defensive, up on higher ground, making sure that we are standing up for ourselves, standing up for our rights, continuing to do that until we no longer have to, because we are no longer sheep. So the question, what warning or message are the Simpsons trying to send about the future economy? I think it's going to be fine, but there's more important things than that. We are going to survive. We are. But there are more important things, such as love, that are necessary. Love and compassion and fearlessness. Vibration, being in a high vibration, because when you're in a high vibration, then you start bringing in money and good things. Anything gets attracted to something that is that high in vibration in a good way. When that's what your vibration is like, you can't help but attract, like attracts like. So if you have created money for a charity, for instance, a good cause, that money is going to come back to you in an amazing way. So you get rewarded for the good things that you do. And I think that's going to happen more in the age of Aquarius. And it's a great incentive, right, to help other people. So economically, I think we are going to be incredibly wealthy, having everything that we need. Because not only do we care for ourselves, we also care for other people. So that's the message, I think, that they're putting through in the Simpsons cartoons. And, you know, you have to, as some of these episodes have said, you have to go sometimes through these episodes with a fine-tooth comb to find Easter eggs that just don't stand out for, they aren't blatantly out there. They're not in black and white. You gotta look for the color in the show. All right, so we are going to do the last question now. Very last one. There were 5 in this episode. All right, so the question is, how can we prepare or protect ourselves based on what we've heard here today? These predictions. All right, so we have Patch Adams. Yeah, the funny thing of it is, you know, people expect predictions to be, you know, kind of like whoever it is that does predictions every year, okay? In other words, at the start of every year. Famous person. The only one I can think of is Jean Dixon, and that's dating myself. She's passed. But anyway, you know, she was the go-to psychic. And every year, for years and years and years. And I feel as though when it comes to the Simpsons, unless it's absolutely clear in the cartoon, such as Trump being elected president, okay? Unless it's absolutely clear, people don't believe that the show does predictions. But what this series has been sharing is there's predictions pretty much in every show. You just have to be able to have that sixth sense to find the predictions. All right, so again, how can we prepare or protect ourselves based on these predictions? First thing that I see here, and I love it that it happens like this. Keep a sense of humor. And help other people keep a sense of humor, because laughter is contagious. Don't stay frozen in one way of thinking, one belief, because you can't grow, you can't change, you can't adapt, as the last question was talking about, us adapting and rebuilding, if you're frozen in specific beliefs and won't come out of those, won't give the opportunity for other things to be possible. It used to be that, you know, people just thought luck, you know, only if I'm lucky will this happen, only if I'm lucky. But with will it go round in circles? This is the question of, you know, are we just going to keep repeating the cycle over and over and over again? That won't happen if we start actually becoming our authentic selves. Be authentic. Express yourself authentically. If there's chaos, instead of getting really angry about it, embrace it. Realize that it's happening, and then see what you can do about it. Don't get angry. So let's see where else this goes. Conclusion. War of the Worlds, gypsies, tramps, and thieves. This is another one of those things. Please do not give me bad comments because I said the word gypsies or tramps. It's the name of Cher's song. So I am repeating the name of Cher's song here. All right, so we have conclusion here. The only conclusion that we can really come to when it comes to preparing or protecting ourselves based on the things that, are going on in our world that the Simpsons are sharing in their cartoons, you can call some of it predictions. The conclusion is we're being told that, ETs are bad. They're out to get our Earth. They are wanting to steal our lives away. They want to harvest our planet and harvest us. That's what all ETs want. That is what we are being told, okay? Again, embrace the chaos. Think about what's actually being said here. And find out what your true belief is. Find out who you are authentically and what do you believe. Are you stuck in that narrative? Or is it possible, just possible, that, some of these ETs are like what we see on Star Trek? That they're friendly and they want to help one another and be friends and work together. You see it in a lot of, you see a lot of different, I'm going to say species. I don't know if that's correct, on Star Trek, working together. And you see it in other space shows also, space travel shows. There's always different races, different species of beings working together. Having a resilient spirit, okay? Knowing what your ancestors went through and trying not to repeat the pattern of what they went through, but perhaps some of the practices, getting back to the basics of things might be a good, living authentically and learning how to care for yourself without, let's say you couldn't go to the store. Store's out of food. What do? Your ancestors definitely grew their own food to some degree. Even if you can't grow a lot of food, you can grow some food. Whether you live in an apartment, if you have a balcony, you can grow food. So, and, maybe not following the path that everybody else follows. So how can we prepare or protect ourselves based on these predictions? Our economic future could very well be based on, we're not going to lose, as we already saw, but it doesn't mean there's not going to be hard times, right? So perhaps growing some of your own food, taking some courses, if possible, in herbal medicines, so you're not so dependent upon the medical field. And laughter, always laughter. Isn't the words laughter is the best medicine that's been around forever? Start learning who you actually are. So let's see what tarot adds here. We have the Hermit. Yeah. Solitude is great, and understanding the wisdom of the words, laughter is contagious. Laughter is the best medicine. Those are very important because laughter raises vibrations. So when someone is ill, if they are capable of laughing, if you can have them laugh, even for a moment, it raises the vibration and makes them hurt less, makes them forget for a moment that they're ill. It helps. And if you can do that multiple times a day and then build up to a bit more and a bit more, I truly believe it can heal them, actually heal them, whatever their ailment is. Nine of Cups, it's the wish card. It is knowing your own emotions, knowing the power of your own emotions, knowing intuitively what energy to follow. And that's where we're talking about, don't freeze in your beliefs. Use your intuition and know what you believe. Know what's really important to you, what emotions you feel. And, when we're talking global power shifts, what do you feel about that? What do you feel about somebody ruling over you? How do you feel about that? And if you feel like, no, I'm an independent person, I don't want to be lorded over, then there's your answer. And there is your authentic voice coming out and your intuition going, no, I'm a sovereign being. Then you act on that. Then we have the Three of Swords here. And Three of Swords is a card of betrayal, a card of deceit. But for me, it is a card that says growth of knowledge. So we've come a long way. We realize that we can't prepare just by believing that we're going to be lucky. Can't leave it like that. We have more knowledge than that. So we've grown in our knowledge to realize that that's not all there is. Two of Pentacles. This is balancing, literally balancing our authentic selves with life. Okay, we need to be able to fit in society, but yet stay authentic. Not so hard once you practice. And again, it goes hand in hand with economic collapse and global shifts and things like that. If you remain who you are, in other words, you are a balanced, authentic individual on your journey, you will know that you will survive pretty much anything. And you'll know what to do. So over here, it's the resilient spirit. It is living authentically, choosing a path that's not conventional. Then we have the Two of Wands. This here is, they say it's the finish line. Conclusion, finish line. So you have a decision to make. Are you going to prepare for something, that's being told or shown, predictions that are being given? Which energy do you want? Do you want to feel protected? Do you want to, let's step back a little bit. Do you want the world to end? Or do you want the world to be a beautiful place? That's the decision that you have to make. A lot of people are saying it's the end of the world as we know it. And I think that's not just one person's decision. I think that's all of our decisions. And then we have the Fool. So it's saying here that if you are believing the rhetoric about all ETs being bad and wanting to take over the planet and so forth, that is the position that whoever is sharing that information wants us to believe, and we're very foolish to believe such a thing. There's a vast universe out there, okay, with probably many, many, many different kinds of people, aliens, otherworldly beings, etc. And obviously they can't all be horrifying. Even here on Earth, we've got good people and we've got bad people. And that's a fact. So why not be the same with, otherworldly beings? And then with Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves, we have 10 of Wands. And that is like the ultimate energy, the perfect, beautiful energy of who you can be when you live authentically, when you live unconventionally, when you follow some of your ancestors' cycles, your vibration is high. You can grow your own food. You can take care of yourself. You've grown herbal medicines, and you know that laughter will heal you. Just as in the previous reading, love also. Your life is not based on luck. You must be an active participant in it. So when it says, how can we prepare or protect ourselves based on these predictions? You have to be an active participant. You need to know what you believe and what you want. You need to balance things and make the decision to own your journey. You need to want the world to be a beautiful place. And you need to live authentically. Keep your vibration high. Laugh a lot. Don't take life so seriously. So that went off a little on the beaten, or went a little off the beaten track here. Different than I thought it was going to, but I went with the flow. Happened in the last episode too. But anyway, this is it for episode 7. You can also find the Twilight Zone inspired episode and the Fringe inspired episode this week. The episodes, let's see, this one, the Simpsons episodes are Wednesday at 3 p.m. The Fringe inspired episodes are Friday at 3 p.m. And the Twilight Zone episodes are Sunday at 10 a.m. I hope you enjoyed the show, this episode, because I enjoyed doing it. And I will see you next week. Please tune in for episode 8 of The Simpsons. Have a great week. Take care.